Guys, when it comes to situational awareness, I think it's more important now than it ever has been. There are possible sleeper cells. There have been plans to disrupt things here in the U.S. for a long time from a number of different countries. But with the current situation with Iran, it's just smart to really think about situational awareness and the tools that you should have with you. So today we're going to take a look at what my personal setup is, why I have what I have that I keep with me in my vehicle, but also on my person. And guys, you need to be prepared. If something is to happen or was to happen, especially if you're with your family, you're going to want to be prepared. And again, like they've always said, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. All right, guys, we're going to get into the entire pack, but before we do, we're going to talk about your EDC. All right, guys, your first line of defense should be your EDC. Now, we all carry our phones, our keys, our billfold or wallet. Then you have your knife and flashlight, which really kind of upgrades your EDC. And then of course you have your concealed carry. One of the things that happens a lot of times are people are not carrying their concealed carry. Like I have, again, friends that they don't carry on an everyday basis. It's kind of sporadic. Carrying EDC is number one, and that is for everyday use. But let's talk about upgrades. So right now I've been carrying the Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. It's tiny, it's summertime, it's easy to carry. It's 380 ACP. It does hold 10 rounds. You can get the 12 round extension. This is a great little handgun and definitely capable for self-defense. But I really want to upgrade right now while we have a little more heightened alert. And I have the Jackson leatherwork inside the waistband holster. So I've kind of bumped it up. Now, I was carrying the CSX for a long time anyway, but once I got the Bodyguard, it was just so easy to carry. But I wanted to step it up to 9mm. This is the E series, it's the new version. I'm really a big fan of these handguns. And so now I've kind of upgraded to not necessarily more capacity, but definitely more powerful round, a little more shootable. For the CSX, I'm using the Craft holsters, and this is outside the waistband. But guys, I'm taking another step forward with the Bull Armory Ultralight. This is also 9mm. It's in the 2011 style, but we have 16+1 in the magazine. It's a little bit of a larger firearm and yet very small for concealed carry. And so this gives me a more shootable platform even over the CSX and more round capacity. And we have one of the Mayhem leather holsters. These are some of the best holsters on the market. Now you'll obviously see that I do carry a lot of leather holsters. I do use Kydex at times, and I know a lot of you guys are big fans. One thing about it, all these are my choices. You have different choices, but this is just something to think about. Your holster options, I'm just mentioning them. And for other EDC items, I'm upgrading with, of course, an extra magazine, which I do carry regularly. And this is a Neo Mag clip. These are great, goes in your pocket, very minimal. Also a whistle. A whistle will go above screams and crowds and everything else. You can start blowing a whistle, and this helps. I have it on a detachable carabiner, so I can take it off if I need to, and I can put this on my key ring. Also, I've upgraded my flashlight option. Now, one thing I love is having that crenulated bezel. I can use this as a self-defense option, and that is really the big plus for this type flashlight. You know, there are some others. This is the Warrior 3. They do make the smaller Warrior version that I do like, but it's at the house. But this gives you a little bit larger light, but it's also going to help in case you need to use it for self-defense, and it gives you a really bright light. Also, this is the first responder kit, and this is from amp3.net, and this is from USN ER-Doc. This has a SWAT teak tourniquet, it has nitrile gloves, and it has a 3.5-inch Israeli bandage. So this is a little small trauma kit that I can fit into a cargo pocket or even in my back pocket, and it's in the lock sack. And David at AMP3 was an emergency room doctor in Portland, Oregon, and he knows what he's putting together. Plus, they do offer a 20% discount using Suits20, and I'll have a link down below in the description. So let's get into really what I keep in my car. I want this handy. I want to be at least able to get to it if I need to. And this is one of the Savior. It's a 2 handgun bag. I've had this for a number of years. I love this bag. And typically I use this as my travel bag. When I'm going out of town, I'm doing something, you know, I have my regular EDC, this goes in the back. But I have upgraded this to a point. And one thing is I put on a medical patch. Now there is medical gear in here, but this also kind of offsets things a little bit when somebody sees a gun case, which this doesn't look like your standard gun case. But this is one of the toughest built gun bags I know of. These feel like almost ropes. I mean, they are solid. And of course, this is just extremely well built all the way throughout. So having a good bag, of course, there's a lot of different options. This is just what I like. So first off, we have this front pouch, and in it, we have a lot of supplies. Now you may say this is a lot of stuff. And we're going to go through and I'm going to tell you why. First off, we do have our medical. That is a big one. We have a cat teeth tourniquet. We have some bleed stop, and this is some hemostatic agents, and this will get the bleeding stopped. And also we have a Israeli bandage, which these things are fantastic. And then also we have some nitrile gloves. So this is kind of my trauma kit. Now I could set this into a pack if I wanted to. It just adds more bulk, so I decided to leave it right in the front where I can get right to it. But also I have one of the Benchmade Triage. Now Benchmade and I are not really hitting it off right now, but I've had this for a long time, and this is one of the best knives for a trauma kit. Seatbelt cutter, or you can cut their pants if you need to, or shirt if you need to get to something. It does have the sheep's foot, so this way you don't cut somebody when you're also cutting clothes. And it does have a glass breaker at the end. This is a great all-purpose survival tool, and it really goes with my med kit. Next, I have a bandana. Now this can cover my face. It can keep dust and debris down, especially if there's some kind of explosive or something that happens. I'm able to cover up my face, and this is just something that is multi-purpose. If I'm sweating, I can put it around my neck. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with a bandana, but the reason for this mainly is to keep the dust and debris out of my face or smoke if something has happened. And then I have some pepper spray, and this can really come in handy to diffuse a situation if something's starting to get out of hand. So pepper spray is good, and two, I've really gotten to where pepper spray is a big deal for me because of a lot of the riots and a lot of the things that have happened over the past few years. Pepper spray is something I keep with me. Now this is the Sabre Red. This is one of the best, and it's just an excellent option. You can get bigger cans, which I have. In fact, I had a bigger one in here. I took it out for something else. But having pepper spray handy. Now, one thing about it, keeping this in your car, if it's in a pack like this, it should be fine, but you don't want to leave this out to where it can get too hot and it can actually go off. So we don't want that. But this makes an excellent option. And two, if I am in a crowd, I don't have my bag handy, I might just slip this in my pocket, or I might just slip it around my belt. So pepper spray is a way that's non-lethal, but yet you can really stop something. And then I have a larger, more capable flashlight, and this is the Warrior X. This is an incredible light. You have your crenulated bezel. It gives out a lot of light. We like these. We keep these around the house for security. And so this is a great personal security item, and if you can get to your bag, this just really upgrades your light potential. And guys, light is your #1 security tool. Also, I like to have a pad. If I need to write something down, if I need to put some description, something down, I've got this pad. And here I have a Sharpie, and I also have a pen. So I can write down things if I need to, especially in a time where it's very chaotic, there's a lot of things going on. This just allows you, maybe it's writing down a license tag. Maybe it's just something that you thought about when you saw something and you wanted to write that down. So having something to write with, it's convenient because there are times where you just need to write something down. But obviously this gives me a place to keep it, and I know where it is. And that's one of the things about these bags. You could have this stuff all over your car, but if you need to get to it, it's great to have everything in one place. Now this is a little bit on the side, but this is a fire kit, and this is just one thing I keep with me at all times. And I haven't completely just filled this thing up because you don't really need to. I've got all the essentials in here, but this is my fire kit. A big part of that is the tinder. This right back here, and I have tinder tabs, and I have some hemp rope. And so if I need to make a fire, I've got tinder, I've got ways to start it, and I have redundant ways. And guys, I've been big about fire kits. I think you need one with you around, but this is just an excellent way to go. And this is the Pico Fire Pro from Roaring Fire Gear. And we also have some Exotac items in here. And Exotac also, you can get a discount with a link down below in the description. But these are great to have. And if you're going to be carrying something in your car anyway, having a good fire kit is just essential. But it doesn't really have anything to do with the subject, but this is just what I carry. Now here in the main compartment, and this just opens up, and this is what I carry. This is a Glock 19X. I have one of the Olight Valkyrie PL3s, so I have a weapons light ready to go. It's not optics ready, but that's when I bought it. They didn't have them. But then I've got a holster also, and this is a Black Point holster. They make really good holsters. So I've got something, and have a holster. Don't just have the gun in here. Have your holster. That way you can put it away if you need to. If you need to use it or you need to get to it, you got a way to retain it and put it on your belt. And this just clips right in. And then I have extra magazines. And yes, I've got quite a few here. This will hold 6. I've got 6. But this is something to me that is really important to have enough. Now, you know, we could go to a carbine and things like that, and that's definitely something, obviously, that I do. So, but for a portable kit, to have a lot of things to up your game. Because one of the things about this Glock is if I just happen to have only my Smith & Wesson, this gives me a heck of a lot more capability. Now it has 2 zippered compartments on either side, and these are all padded. I really like this pouch. One thing is my fixed blade knife. Now I like to have a fixed blade, and this is the Breacher, and this is from DMO Knives. And this was made actually for law enforcement agents that were breachers. This thing is built like a tank. And so one problem is if you find yourself in a bad situation where you're needing to pry things and get to stuff, this is going to be a great option. And it can be a self-defense tool as well. But really for this is more of a leverage tool. That's what I have it for. And it has a nice sheath as well. And I have a Silcock wrench. And this is perfect for turning on or turning off water or different type utilities that are in a city. And so this is one thing that I like to keep handy just for that reason. And I have some tripwire, and this is just military tripwire. I have some paracord that I would typically put in here. This will suit part of that need, but having a little bit of paracord would also help. So this is my tool compartment. Now on this side, we live in a world of electronics. And so I have one of the Charge. This is a wireless charger, and it's a battery backup. This kind of is the best of both worlds. So if I need to charge my flashlights, I can do so with this. But if I need to charge my phone, I can also do this. So this gives me some multiple functions. Now, obviously, if I had just a battery backup, I could hook up a cable to it and I could charge it that way. But this is just a really cool system. And I'm gonna tell you what, guys, these Charge chargers, I have been using these every day for at least 2 years. Not this particular model, but these are top-notch chargers. In fact, we're going to take a look at a lot of their chargers just because I'm really a big fan. And with that, I also have some cables here. Of course, I have for my flashlight. I have a USB-C cable right here. So I can charge my phone this way, but if I have the wireless charger, that works too. But this just gives you a lot of options. So there's not a whole lot in here, but it just is one of those things you really need, especially if there's a lot of time. You get locked down in an area, you can't get out, your car's trapped, whatever. This will give you the ability to be able to communicate and to keep your lights charged. So guys, here are the items that I have in that bag. And this is everything laid out. Of course, this does not include my EDC. Yes, it's a lot, but if you ever find yourself in an emergency situation, guys, this can really save a life. Not only yours, but also your families and those around you. And then if you need to, you have some way to be able to treat. And then you upgrade with your EDC, and that just gives you more capability. So guys, having the tools on hand in case there is a situation really could save your life or your family's life. And so having just a few items put back, ready to go, not only again in your vehicle, but on your person. I know so many guys that have their concealed carry permits that just don't carry except on rare occasions. And guys, you just don't know when that time is. Put yourself together a good kit. Of course, it's very personal. This just is my setup. But again, to be forewarned is to be forearmed. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. First off, in first line of the fence, it's what you carry every day. I don't have my billfold up here. I got to put that on there. And I'll tell you, I think it's the 2.0. Yeah, this is the E-Series. As far as my EDC, I've upped that as, okay. Now in the, so guys, put together, so guys, having the, and so this gives you a lot of options. It's dead, that figures.